Let me catch my breath. Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of the Chemically Imbalanced Black Girl Podcast. If you're new here, this podcast is a collection of visual and audio existential crisis thoughts from a chemically imbalanced black girl who happens to be me, and my name is Aria. Good morning. That reminds me of we had an ISS teacher when I was in middle school. I went to like this year-round school, which, what even is that? What is a year-round school? Why did I have to wear uniforms? And why didn't I have no fucking summer break? That was crazy. Anyway, I went to this like year-round school. It wasn't an alternative school. I wasn't a bad kid. I just don't know why I went there. We had this teacher for ISS because anytime you didn't wear the full uniform, you had to be in ISS for the day. And I was in that bitch all the time because I just, for some reason as a kid, I refused to wear belts. I don't know why. I wear them all the time now, but as a kid, I was like, you're not putting shit around my waist. But so yeah, you had to wear like a black belt with the uniform and your shirt tucked in. And yeah, I just never wore one. So I was always in fucking ISS. I can't even say like I wasn't. I was in that bitch like 3 times out of the week. But we had this big ass dude who ran ISS. His name was Mr. Bain. He was fucking 6'8", 350, big ass mustache. Like he was huge. And he used to walk around with this big ass leather belt that he used to smack on the desk. He used to terrorize the fuck out of the kids in ISS. And every time he walked in the room, he'd be like, good morning. And then he'd start torturing the fuck out of us. I wonder how you doing. I wonder if he's still around. But hello guys, welcome back. I missed you guys so much. I did. The first topic I want to talk to you guys about is nightmares and sleepwalking. If you're not new to the show, you know there's been a couple instances I've had where I've sleptwalked, and I had another one recently. And I don't know. Well, when I first did it, it scared the shit out of me because I was like, what the fuck? And I believe it's happened to me twice before. So now this time makes it a third time. And I feel like in the very, very first time, I didn't even remember I did it. The memory of me doing it like slingshotted itself back into my brain like maybe 2 or 3 years later, which that was the most scariest one because I was like, how do I just remember myself doing some shit that I don't remember doing? That's so wild. But I want to tell you guys about the nightmare that I had a few nights ago that I guess stemmed me to sleepwalk. And then I have a few nightmares from Reddit that I want to read you guys that I thought were really creepy because I just love hearing about dreams and nightmares and shit like that, especially when they're like continuous, like you have the same dream or nightmare over and over and over again. I just love hearing shit like that because I used to have a really freaky reoccurring nightmare when I was a teenager, and I haven't had it since, but I remember it because I used to have that bitch every other night, and it racks my brain trying to understand what the fuck it meant, even though I'm pretty sure it didn't mean anything. But to have the same nightmare over 10 times, you can't tell me that it don't mean anything. Nightmare I had the other night was about my grandma, and it wasn't even a nightmare, or was it? I don't know. It was like the dream was a dream, and then I woke up, it was a nightmare. So anyway, let me explain. So in the dream, I was in the house that I'm in right now, and I'm in my room. And for some reason, I go out my room into my living room to grab something. And then when I go into the living room, my grandma's sitting on my couch. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, hello? And she was like, hey, you ready? And so in the dream, I'm like, I know that she's dead in the dream. So that's why I'm like, what the fuck? So she's like, yeah, you ready? And I'm like, ready to do what? And she was like, and she looked like just as confused as I am. She's like, go to the movies like we said we would. And I was like, but how? I was like, how are we going to go to the movies if you're dead? And then in the dream, she literally got offended. She was like, why would you say something like that? Like, that's not even funny. Don't say shit like that. And I was like, okay. Because, and I could feel, this was the crazy thing about the dream. I could feel myself being confused in the dream. Because my grandma has never stepped foot in this house that I'm living in. So I'm just like, what? I'm like, maybe she is here. Like, it's so crazy how dreams work because they feel so real, y'all. I could literally feel myself believing that oh, maybe she didn't die. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm convincing myself in the dream that her dying was a bad dream, and I just woke up from it and shit. Which is so fucking crazy, because she's like, don't ever say no shit like that to me again. Like, that's not funny. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Mind you, the rest of the house is dark. There's like a blue light, like, shining on my grandma. And I just remember us staring at each other in silence, because I'm like, what? Like, I'm really sure that I convinced myself in this dream that her dying was not real. And I was like convinced. I was like, okay, shit, fuck it. Let's go to the movie. Shit, bitch, what we seeing, you know? So when I go to like walk up to her and extend my arms out to give her a hug, right? And then I wake up. Y'all, I wake up on the other side of my room. On the floor. When I get up, wipe the tears from my eyes, and I get up and I get to my bed, right? The minute I lay down in my bed, I sit directly back up. Why the fuck was I over there, and why the fuck was I on the floor? Right? It's like I just picked myself up and put myself back in the bed without realizing, like, how the fuck did I get out of the bed? You know? I fell asleep in the bed. Bitch, why am I 70 feet over on the rug? I was so scared. Definitely didn't go back to sleep, because I was like, did somebody pick me up and put me over there? I was like, yo, there's no way because now all I'm thinking about is like me being asleep, getting up out my bed, walking to the other side of my room, because in the dream, my grandma was sitting on the couch in my living room. In my bedroom, I have a couch across, on just the other side of my bedroom. So I'm thinking, like, I got up, walked to the nearest couch, and was I just like staring at that bitch, when I was sleeping, or was I talking? I need to get a camera in my room, bitch, and I kind of don't want to see myself do that, because it's gonna freak me the fuck out. Like, I don't want to see myself unconscious, but like doing shit. I just feel like that'll make me feel real strange. But the mystery, like the nosy inside of me is just like, nah, I have to see myself doing that, because it was like a movie. Like, I just woke up, wipe a little tear from my eye, okay, that was a crazy dream. Got up from the rug on my floor, got in my bed, put the cover on me, tried to, you know how you do the little leg thing, tried to snuggle in. I sat up like, wait a minute. Why the fuck was I over there? Y'all, it was so crazy. Love hearing about nightmares and shit like that. And that one, like I said, it wasn't even a nightmare. It was the fact that I was like living such a blissful dream, and I woke up to a nightmare. Like, the fact that she was gone when I woke up made it a nightmare, because I was just like, damn, I would have rather stayed in a goddamn dream, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit. How you wake up from a dream and realize shit is fucked up? Like, that is crazy. I was sleeping peacefully, living through a nightmare. God damn it. Guys, I want to get into these Reddit nightmares that I found, because I just love spooky shit. And if you have a reoccurring nightmare, or if you like the scariest nightmare you've ever had, I really want y'all to tell it to me, because y'all know fall is coming up. October's right around the fucking corner. I love creepy shit. I really, really do. And I'm thinking about doing a little Halloween, like, October segment here, where I just tell like scary stories off Reddit. I don't know why. Y'all like being scared? I do. Let's do it. Guys, so this first nightmare was uploaded 13 years ago. So if you've already heard it on another podcast, you know what? Good for you. But it says, a few years ago, I fell asleep at a friend's house after a night of drinking. I remember just staying up late with people and hanging out until I felt sober enough to go to bed. And then they let me stay in their guest room. That's when I had the worst nightmare experience of my life. I remember it so well. It was like I never even fell asleep. The second I laid down and closed my eyes, there was a blinding light all around me. I had to squint just to look around and try to see what was going on. I felt the bed vibrate, and there was an odd humming sound all around that would go back and forth between being very loud and very quiet. The room was wavy, like there was gas all around, distorting my perception. It suddenly became very hard to breathe, like breathing through a straw. Of course, I started to panic, and that made it worse. I stood up to leave the room, but kept losing my balance. I fell so many times, and I started crying as I clawed at the carpets and the blankets on the bed. My legs and arms wouldn't respond properly, and my neck was also very weak. I tried to speak, but all that came out were gurgles. Oh, Jesus. I felt my way out of the room and ended up in the hallway, which was very cold and dark compared to the bedroom. I couldn't see anything. I was guiding myself along the walls to try and get towards someone who could help me. The hallway was terrifying. There was a soft whispers all around me, sometimes coming very close to my face. There was a presence right behind me the whole time. I would feel fingertips trace along my shoulders and back if I crawled too slow. I was crying the whole time, and I should mention that I could actually feel time passing throughout this whole ordeal. I spent the last 2 hours crawling through that hallway. I remember touching the walls around me, and they felt spongy and weak. I tried to push too hard. If I pushed too hard, they would fall over, and there would be nothing there but more blackness behind them, and the faint sound of an air raid siren going off in the distance. It was freezing cold, and my hands and feet were numb. Eventually, I stopped crawling and just laid down on my stomach. I felt the presence behind me wrap around my ankles and slowly drag me back to the bedroom. I wasn't even scared anymore. I just felt completely hopeless. Back in the bedroom, I became very angry and went into a fit. I was screaming and kicking the walls and floor, rolling around like a toddler. I smashed the table over and felt the wood splinter, and it cut me. I didn't care. I screamed and gurgled until I ran out of breath. Then I was knocked onto the ground near the foot of the bed. My arms and legs were restrained, and I was forced to look straight ahead at the ceiling. The humming became very loud, and I couldn't hear anything, even my own voice. Something was standing right over me, but I couldn't see anything. I just felt it right in front of me. Suddenly, it felt like my whole body was being dipped into sand up to my neck. And when it was covered in sand, it started to pulse with my heartbeat. It was the most disgusting, horrible feeling. This happened for hours. Overall, I think the whole thing was over 6 hours until I guess I passed out. I woke up with the same exact position that I fell asleep in, except my voice was nearly gone, and I had weird scratch marks on my arms and feet. I asked my friends if I was yelling or talking in my sleep or moving around and sleepwalking, and they said they didn't see or hear anything. When I got home later that day, I noticed I had a little red scratch marks on my shoulder blades and on my lower back as well. Guys, when I first read that one, I was like, that would have creeped the fuck out of me, actually, because especially the part where he was like, I'm pretty sure that I was getting dipped in that fucking sand for 6 hours. The crazy thing about that is that I know for a fact he felt all of the 6 hours in the dreams. Like, dreams and nightmares like this feel so fucking real, almost like you're crossing over into another dimension. Like, I know I was doing that. I felt it. I smelt it. I've had dreams where I'm fucking eating and I wake up tasting it on my breath. The same shit I was eating in my dream. Like, now I'm craving it because I can fucking taste it. I was just eating it. So to wake up with scratches on you and stuff like that is just crazy. I remember I had a dream, which is crazy because I don't know why my dad would do this. But when I first got adopted, I had a dream that this man would come into my room every night and beat the absolute shit out of me. Like, beat the shit out of me. And one night I woke up in the middle of having a dream, and my dad was just in my room, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, what are you doing? Get the fuck out. So I know that didn't make my dad sound good, but I promise he was in there for a good reason. But yeah, so I hate when you can see evidence from a bad dream. Now, realistically, he was probably just like scratching himself in his dream, like trying to run away, like when he was crawling and stuff. But I mean, you don't think like that when you wake up. Like, you just think like, damn, I was actually going through it. I got one more dream for you guys, and then we're going to talk about DANDADAN because I'm actually obsessed. This one is from oh, that's a tongue twister. I was not expecting that. Starchy Sunfish, and it was posted 9 months ago. It says, normally when I dream, I'm able to reason in my head. Like if I'm dreaming, a friend says something, I can go, nah, she wouldn't say that. And I even often lucid dream. So if I'm having a nightmare, I can fight back. Another feature I have is that everything kind of looks different. Like even if I'm at my job, I'm in this reoccurring other office that I keep dreaming I work in, even though I don't. Like the aesthetic of everything is different, but always the same somehow. Like a dream where every world is different, but it correlates to the real world. This guy typed this kind of funny. Anyway, this time I was in my real world, walking briskly from a bus stop to my apartment. It's nighttime. The air feels unsafe. I have this off feeling, like you sometimes have at night. And then I hear panting behind me. So I speed up and glance over my shoulder, and there's this man. He's tall, lanky, and his teeth are bright white while his face is black. He's not a black guy. He's a person whose skin has been turned black, like charcoal or black mold. His hair hangs in clumps. He's wearing a puffer jacket and he might be black. No, I was joking. He's wearing a... Sorry, y'all. He's wearing a puffer jacket and worn out shoes. You know, like the old Mickey Mouse cartoons when they would split where the toe of the boot met the sole. I can see his toenails poking out, scraping against the pavement. As soon as I pick up my pace, he lunges forward and then chases me with these pouncing lunges. In no time, my face is planted in the wet grass of the football field close to my apartment building. When I turn my head, I can see my window glowing this soothing orange. Then he's on me. He flips me over with his foot and pulls me up by the hair. At this point, I realize I'm having a nightmare. Normally, I'm able to regain some power when that happens, or worst case, I can decide to just drop dead and then switch the dream off. But I have nothing this time. It's like he's seeping into my lungs, and he holds me tight. I can feel my scalp peeling from the bone, and he stares me down, eyes wide and mouth in this massive grin. And he goes, in an awful, guttural voice, which I guess is me screaming in my sleep, "You think I'll rape you? Kill you? No. I'll do worse than you could ever imagine. You'll never be free of me." And then I wake up. So scared I'm crying. I scurry to turn on my bedside lamp and then wrap my duvet all around my body and stay up until sunrise. I've never dreamed of that man again that I'm aware of, and this was back in 2014. But lately my boyfriend has told me that I scream a lot in my sleep, seem to be having nightmares. I never even remember them when I wake up. It's just one big void now. Okay, when I first read this one, I'm not going to lie, it freaked me out a little bit more than the one I just read you guys. Because this is the type of nightmare that you only have to have once. And I feel like this is also the type of nightmare that was intentional. You know, like that part, anytime somebody has a dialogue in my dreams or nightmares specifically, I'm always trying to fixate on that dialogue. Like, what did that person say? Because they're not saying anything new. They're either saying like a perfect elixir of everything I know I'm scared of, and that's why they're saying it in my dream, or they're saying something that I've been thinking about recently, you know, and it's taken over my content, my psyche and shit. So I don't know, that you think I'll, you know, rape you, kill you, I'll do worse than you could ever imagine, you'll never be free of me. That right there is just like, what haunting words to say to somebody, right? Because most women, the worst thing you can think of is somebody, you know, raping you and killing you. So it's just like, what do you know about me to say I'll do worse than you can ever imagine? Like, what? You know, I feel like those words would have just sent my whole body cold. It would have fucked me up. I hated that. But yeah, guys, if you have any reoccurring nightmares that really fucked you up, please send them to me. You know, I'll even share them on the podcast if you want, especially for Halloween. So you can give me multiple. You can give me some long ones like those. You can give me some short, quick ones. I don't mind. All the new people who are listening to this podcast, I'm so happy you're here. Every time I go look at the stats for this podcast, I'm just like, how are people listening to this? But the reoccurring nightmare I had when I was a kid, just to catch all the new listeners up, was I was in this random room with a box TV that had a comedian set going. And every time the comedian would get to the punchline of this same joke, like 30 people would randomly appear in this room, right? Now, this happened over and over and over and over again, right? And every time a new group of 30 people would pop up, the last group of 30 people would start to realize that, one, I don't get the joke, and two, why are there so many fucking people in here now? So it's like a continuous evolution of, because the new people that come into the room are laughing at the joke. Like, there's laughter happening around, right? But every time he says the punchline, 30 people just fucking pop up in this little ass room, right? So as this keeps going, all you can hear is this slurry of laughter and confusion. You hear people going, oh shit, oh my God, that's funny as fuck. But then you also hear people like, what the fuck was the joke? I don't get this. Who is that? Why the fuck is it? I'm getting hot. Like, it's just, you can hear like a tiny bit of commotion mixed with laughter. And then there's like 30 more, 30 more, 30 more. You know what I'm saying? And you can still hear people laughing, but now the laughter is becoming like maniacal. You know what I'm saying? Now it sounds like a fucking anime villain. You know what I'm saying? Like, the laughter is forced now. And now the panics are, you know, they're huffing and puffing and niggas is sweating. And, you know, now niggas is starting to get antsy. And now there's 30 more people. And it's just like, well, now I can't breathe. And niggas is scooting up to me and I can't fucking turn my head and I can't see. And I don't even, you know what I'm saying? It's just, it gets worse and worse and worse until all you hear is like this disgusting sound of like screaming and laughing and crying. It used to fuck me up so bad when I was a teenager. And I had that dream over 10 times. Could not tell you why, can't tell you what it means or what it's about. Like, it used to just, my heart used to be beating so, and I wouldn't cry because it wasn't like scary. I mean, it wasn't sad, it was scary. So my heart would just beat so fast every time I woke up. Like, what? Can't tell you what comedian it was. I honestly can't even tell you the joke. I just know that I didn't get it, and every time he landed it, 30 people will pop up in this little ass room. Crazy. But okay, guys, let's talk about DANDADAN again, because I don't know. Y'all, this anime is just like taking me. What's the saying I'm trying to say? I guess it's just taking me. Fuck it, let's go with that. But I know a new episode dropped. Oh, today. Oh shit, is today the 31st? Fuck! Yeah, it is. Okay, well, I haven't watched it. But I don't know, guys. This, and I'm not gonna lie, read a little bit of the manga. Had to look it up. This is a very good anime. And I'm getting my homeboy to start watching it too, because, you know, as soon as animes, some people don't like animes that don't start off arms house. Like, if the first scene isn't like ass whooping and fucking jitsu, then a lot of people fall off. But there's something about animes that I'm just like, wait, give it 3 episodes. You know what I'm saying? Give it 3 episodes. It's gonna take you out of nowhere. And I don't know. This anime is crazy. But you know what I do feel like? I do like the writing of the anime. I love the dialogue. I love how natural the script is. But I'm not gonna lie, y'all. If Gigi wasn't in this anime, I don't think I would like it that much. Like, because of how lovable and nice his character was, for that to be a perfect temple for, you know, that evil spirit and shit like that, to be so athletic, so smart, so caring, so kind. It's like, yeah, this nigga's a genius. Like, of course, any evil, you know, passerby would want to take him as a temple. He's fucking perfect. I just thought that was such a fucking nice setup to basically becoming a villain for the whole season. You know what I'm saying? It's like, my friend is in there, and I'm going to get my fucking friend out. Because my friend was too naive and too nice to understand what you're doing to him, but I know my friend isn't the one doing this. Let me tell you something. That evil spirit that's inside of Gigi, I don't know. Hey, listen. That nigga has the meanest axe kick I've ever seen in my entire life. That nigga didn't hit nobody with his hands 4 episodes in. I was like, can this nigga punch somebody? I mean, hammer kicking, axe kicking, son of a bitch. The quad, the hamstring on this nigga, when he goes up for that axe kick, I'm like, yo, it's like fucking ropes in his legs. I'm like, Jesus, good grief. No, I just really love when anime pays attention to detail like that. And that's just a cold ass nigga. Like, he is like beating everybody ass and like Fruit of the Looms. I love it so much. That nigga said a grudge that cannot be exercised. Are you kidding me? That's the coldest line I've ever heard in anime history ever. Bitch, a grudge that cannot be exercised? He said, I'm killing everybody in this bitch. I don't care. Crazy. Not gonna lie, I didn't like how long it took them to call Seiko, because when that crab nigga popped up, I was like, bitch, the only person you need to be tapping in is your grandma. Now, I know she said she didn't have her powers outside of the village, which makes me wonder how she trapped that nigga in the first place, because I thought she wasn't supposed to have her powers outside the village. Anyway, that's probably something they'll answer in a new episode that I haven't watched today. But yeah, between Seiko and, which is the grandma, right? She got two names, and I can't remember what the other name is. I know her name is Seiko Ayase, but her medium name is something else, like Santa, I don't know. Anyway, Gigi and the grandma, probably my two favorite characters in anime. And Seiko gives me Tsunade vibes. Y'all don't know how bad I wanted Tsunade to be like Seiko when I was watching Naruto for the first time when I was a kid. Like, Tsunade, I mean, big titties, blonde hair, little stick, you know what I'm saying? You know, can fight a little bit. But bitch, you scared of blood and you shrivel up and you a fucking health ninja. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so disappointed in Tsunade's, like, story and just character development. I just was like, no. Seiko Ayase is exactly who I wanted Tsunade to be. So that grandma, like, badass, strong as fuck, like, have all this wisdom, don't really care about shit. I love that attitude. I love that. So I've been watching really, like, I don't even know what genre of anime you can call that, but really just like, I guess like little derpy anime, like storybook animes. I watched one that really caught me off guard of how good it was, but there's one on Netflix called Lookism, and I'm pretty sure this came out well over 4 or 5 years ago, probably more than that, but I was just scrolling trying to look to see like a quick new anime, and I found that one, and it's Lookism. Lookism. It's about this kid who's in high school, and he's, you know, pretty big and unattractive, and just because of that, people beat his ass literally every day. Like, there's no other reason. He's not a mean kid. He's not a disrespectful kid. He's never in anybody's way. Everybody just fucks him up because he's fat and ugly. Like, I can't put it to you any other way. That's literally it. Like, I mean, he be getting his ass beat. Like, if he sneezes wrong, bitch, they're gonna jump the fuck out of him. I'm not joking. So he, like, you know, gets beat up every day. His mom tries to come down to the school, save him and shit, end up embarrassing him more and shit like that, because his mom old as fuck. She's trying to beat up the bullies, fists going 2 miles per hour and shit like that. Like, grandma, go sit down. So then he asks his mom to, like, get a transfer to another school. Is like, I'm not finna get beat up every day at this school. Like, I need to go somewhere else. Mom's like, all right, bet, I got you. Send him to a new school. He's like, all right, I'm finna reinvent myself here, nigga. Like, this a new me, new school. I got this. Didn't work. First day, got his ass whooped. Didn't, for no reason. Didn't work at all. So he's tired of that. And then he just randomly goes to sleep. But when he wakes up, he's in like this whole new body. I mean, 6'4", shredded abs, blue eyes, bowl cut, you know what I'm saying? Deeper voice. And he's like, who the fuck is that? So then he turns around in this new body, and he sees his old fat self on the floor sleeping. And he's like, well, bitch, if that's me, and this is me, what the fuck going on? And if you're gonna watch it, I'm not gonna spoil it, but I think you guys should watch it. It was great. It like I said, it took me by surprise. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. Cleared the whole shit in one day, as I do. And I did Google it. It did say a season 2 was coming out, but y'all know how anime. Motherfucking One Punch Man was supposed to have a season 3 for the past 10 years. And, you know, so I don't really know if it's coming out with a season 2, but the way they ended it, there's no way they can't come out with a season 2. It just might not be soon. But, it was a really nice show. Oh my gosh. And then I watched another one. I'm about to change the subject, y'all. I'm sorry. There's one more anime that I want y'all to watch. It's very stupid, but I really like it. It's called Kotaro Lives Alone. It's about this little 4-year-old who doesn't have his parents anymore, and he's trying to, he rented an apartment, and, he's, navigating through life by himself. It's so cute. It's only, 9 episodes. But I fell in love with this little boy. I was like, oh my gosh. So cute. Okay, but there's one more thing that I want to talk about anime on. Because I saw this, I be watching podcasts so I can, steal little topics to talk about on mine and shit like that. And I was watching this podcast the other day. And I've heard this before, but it just made me start thinking about stuff and what friend groups people were in growing up, because they were saying how anime back in the day, wasn't as popular, or it used to be considered nerdy to watch anime, and it was embarrassing to admit that you watched anime and stuff like that. And the only thing I have to say to that is that, yes, I agree that the internet made anime more feasible to other people. So now it looks like it's more mainstream because the people who started with it aren't the ones bragging about it, I guess. So it opens up a door for people who aren't fans, but to know about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll just be a conversation piece instead of being like a devoted fan to it. So I get that. But also, it makes me kind of wonder, like, what friend groups you were in growing up. Because to me, in my experience, anime has never been weird. It's never been corny or anything like that. Because in my specific friend groups, everybody watched anime. You know what I'm saying? Like, I picked my friend groups based on, you know, the shit that we liked together, and everybody liked anime. You know what I'm saying? So I remember seeing fucking billboards of Comic-Cons driving from North Carolina back to Virginia Beach. So it's always been this widespread community. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's more of one of those things that's like, oh, I can't let the homies know that I fuck with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, your friends thought it was lame and corny. You know what I'm saying? Because back at my lunch table, niggas was trading Yu-Gi-Oh cards and shit like that over mac and cheese. So it's just like, I feel like in your circle or your cultural experience, it wasn't accepted, or you liked it and your friends didn't, so you felt like the cornball of the group because you liked anime. But that, you know, that's still a you problem, because you're not surrounding yourself with people who actually did fuck with anime this whole time. And maybe those friends back then that thought you were corny for watching it are watching it now, and you feel like there's this hypocrisy going on because, oh, back then you used to joke me for doing it, but now you trying to do it because it's all over the place and shit like that. So I do understand, but I kind of disagree when I say, when I hear people say like, oh, anime has become this like hype beast, like trendy thing, because it always has been. You know what I'm saying? The internet does that to everything. You know, you got motherfuckers wearing shit from the 80s now. Everything becomes a cycle. But I don't know, this newfangled fame that people are saying anime is getting nowadays. I'm not buying that shit, because we was Naruto running through the hallways, bitch. Like, I don't care. Now, that is something I do agree with. I don't think, in my experience, I've ever seen anybody get bullied or clowned on for liking anime, but you definitely got joked on if you were acting like you were in an anime, bitch. It's definitely a thing in my school. Like, niggas did not care if you watched Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, but if you doing fucking expansion jutsu in the middle of lunch, some niggas might have a problem with that. Like, nigga, we in the middle of SATs. We do not want to see a Rasengan. Put that shit away. You know those fucking girls who would be like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So if you acted like you were in an anime, like if you were in an argument and you were like, I'm summoning the D, like, you all know, like, there was a couple niggas in the school that acted like that. So that was corny. Like, that warranted you to get some jokes. You know what I'm saying? But no, literally nobody cared about anybody watching it. So I just feel like the people saying that are the people who either didn't used to watch it and now they watch it, or the people who were afraid to admit they watched it and now they're watching everybody else start to get into it, and they feel I don't know, I guess they feel bad about that. I don't want to say, like, that's why I always say, like, my experience, because there was probably some niggas out here who was trying to introduce their friends to, like, Bleach and shit like that, and Inuyasha, and their friends was like, nigga, get that corny shit away from me. Like, I don't want the conclusion of that topic to be, well, just because I've never seen anybody call it corny, then that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be, well, I've never experienced that, so it didn't happen. I'm just saying, like, I feel like the new fame that anime has, I feel like it's always been there. You just see it more now because of the internet. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, guys, I'm about to wrap up the episode, but you know, this podcast is called Chemically Imbalanced Black Girl Podcast. So, you know, there is at least one segment of this show where I have to be a little Debbie Downer. You know, bitch, I'm the queen of a mood killer. So there was something, and I guess I'll call this the existential crisis thought, because I guess I did have a little mini existential crisis. I was put in a position this past week that shocked me about myself. Let me just tell you about it. So again, for those of you who are new to the show, I am diagnosed with depression and PTSD. I have anxiety. I'm just not, it's not something I go through a lot. More than the depression and PhD, bitch. Yep, I'm not even gonna correct myself. Depression and PhD. I have a very long history of trying to unalive myself and not being successful. And I thought I recently discovered that I didn't want to kill myself anymore because of how good I've been feeling mentally. And just how, I just thought I didn't. I thought that was something that I was over with. And that just dying of maybe an accident or a natural cause would be good enough. You know what I'm saying? Because the want to die never really went away, if I'm being quite honest with you guys. The will to do it myself is the thing that went away. So I just wanted to clear that up, because there's never going to be a day where I'm like, I'm healed, I'm not depressed anymore, I want to be here forever. There's just, that day is never going to come. But I wanted to make sure you guys understand the difference between still wanting to not be here but not wanting to cause harm to myself. And about 4 days ago, I was put in the position where I was in front of a gun. And I have never made such a decision and unmade the decision so quickly. And it made me emotional, because all I was doing was moving stuff out of a room for somebody. And as soon as I saw the gun, it's like my whole body locked up. Like, the only thing I was focused on was the gun. And I don't know how to say what I want to say without sounding too, like, morbid. It's almost as if, like, I was fantasizing about, shooting myself. I was just like, I was sitting in this space of bliss, thinking about how in milliseconds, all of the pain that I experienced can just be over. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a cloud above my head that I was floating in, thinking about pulling the trigger on myself. And I got stuck in it because it's such a swift motion. It would have took no time. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of basked in that. I was kind of like, how amazing would it be? Within 3 seconds, I'm just gone, And I couldn't believe that I was doing that, because I haven't thought about hurting myself in a long time. It's just not something I think about anymore. I haven't cut myself. I haven't done anything. If anything, I'll kick a hole in the wall in my house or something like that to let out my anger. But I don't hurt myself anymore. So to be staring down at this gun, and I didn't even want to fucking touch it, because I knew if I picked it up, I wouldn't be able to stop myself. And it was like a compelling feeling, like it was whispering to me, bitch. Like, that's why I said I don't know what to say without sounding morbid. But if you've ever been in the mindset of not even wanting to kill yourself, but planning on when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it, when you get back into that mindset, it's kind of like it's like a mind fog. Like, your brain is just full of mist and you can't snap yourself out of it, because it's a fantasy, really. And as fucked up as that sounds, nobody listening to this that's ever been suicidal cannot say that the thought of killing yourself isn't a fantasy. Like, there's so much thought and there's so much, I don't know. It's something that I can't explain verbally. You're only going to have to feel me emotionally. Like, if you've been through it, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to say much more. But to the people who've never had that feeling, I know it's hard to understand. And I'm sorry I'm doing a bad job at explaining it. I just think it's funny, because I even remember when I was getting my first apartment in Indiana a few years ago, and My dad wanted to get me a gun because, I was living out of state. I didn't know anybody in Indiana. And, no, my mom wanted to get me a gun, for like my safety and stuff out there. My dad was like, nah. He was like, you don't know our kid like I do. Nah, that shit ain't gonna be used on nobody but her. So it's like any chance I have to where it'd be quick, I can't help myself but like revel in that. Like if I ever found myself on top of a really high building, like the urge to not throw myself off that bitch would be stronger than a lot of you would understand. Like any quick way to go, I'm always like, damn, I could just do it. Like this is the answer to all my problems. You know what I'm saying? And it's so crazy how you could graduate from thinking like that every day and thinking bad about yourself and thinking, no, the best thing for me to do is just fucking die. There's nothing I can do on this earth that would equal any substance. You know what I'm saying? Nobody gives a fuck about me. You can tell yourself all these things and you can graduate from thinking those things every day to tell yourself that you've become a better person, right? And as soon as you get right back in the scene of possibly being able to kill yourself, it's like all of that shit just comes back. It's like, well, I could do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like now I could do it just because, you know what I'm saying? And that's a real fucked up feeling. It didn't make me sad or anything like that. It just made me realize that I don't think, well, I can't see that. I don't know. It makes me wonder if there's anything positive I could experience in this life that'll make me not want to die. Hey, look. Born just to die. That's the human curse in the world, in the words of the great Gambino. So yeah, maybe that should have been the existential crisis thought. Was it? Y'all, I don't know. It's early in the morning. But okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys are feeling good mentally and emotionally. And if you're not, tell me about it. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to know that I'm not the only one losing my shit. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.